Part 5. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 41. Hong Chen 3,000 guests, although they were a little dissatisfied with Hong Jun handing over Hong Meng purple chi to Hong Yun ancestor. But Dao ancestor is here, and they don't dare to be presumptuous. Hong Jun suppressed the situation in the field and glanced at Zhen Yuanzi without a trace. He bowed his head and said to Lao Tzu, "Taking, you are the head of the 3 Qings, Pangu Zhengzong, as my first disciple, as a teacher, I will give you a magic weapon, this is the Taiji diagram, you take it." After Hong Jun finished speaking, he took out a picture showing the chaotic yin and yang color. This Taiji diagram is surrounded by thousands of rays of light and thousands of colors, and the proverbs of the avenue outside the picture surround it, and the heavenly Dao runes loom in the picture. The 5-colored light shines on the mountains and rivers, and the 9-colored Rui Qi shocks the heavens and the universe. There were 3,000 guests in Zixiao Palace, and when they saw this treasure, they immediately fell into madness. This treasure seems to be no less than Tai's chaos bell. At first glance, it is an innate treasure. This diagram is the Pangu open heaven holy weapon, called the Taiji diagram. This diagram is infinitely mysterious, infinitely created, can defuse all attacks, ignoring any defense. It can also suppress the luck of the great sect. You're just right. When Lao Tzu heard this, he trembled with excitement, knelt directly on the ground, and received the Taiji diagram. "Thank you, teacher." Hong Jun looked at the Yuan Shi Dao again. "Yuan Shi, you are one of the 3 Qings, with far-reaching ambitions, forge ahead, and have a Pangu banner for your teacher, just right for you." Hong Jun flew out of a long flag, and on this long flag, it had the power of heaven and earth no less than that of the Taiji diagram, and it was even more violent. This is the Pangu flag, which is the treasure of the open heaven that evolved after the split of the Pangu open heaven axe, the first to attack the flood and famine, and there is also the only way to create and suppress the luck of the great sect. Take it. "Thank you, Master." The Yuan Shi Dao people, knowing the power of Pangu flag, were ecstatic. He was arrogant, and although Honghuang was not convinced, he was not convinced, but because he did not take advantage of the magic weapon, he was vaguely suppressed by Ru Daijun and others. He was even bullied by the Wu clan. Now that he can get a heaven-opening treasure, he doesn't have to be afraid of anyone anymore. Yuan Shi took the Pangu flag and hurriedly thanked him. Hong Jun gave 2 innate treasures in a row, and only made others jealous and crazy. This is the treatment of the saint's disciples. Daijun always remembered that he had missed such an opportunity. "I hate Hong Yun even more." Hong Jun Dao ancestor, ignoring everyone's gaze, fell on the Tongtian Dao people. "Tongtian, you have a carefree personality, you are informal, you like to kill, and you will be given a set of magic weapons as a teacher." He flew out 4 Excalibur and a formation map. Although this treasure is not a heaven-opening treasure, it is also an innate treasure-killing treasure. This sword and formation diagram can form a Zuxian sword array. 1 person can arrange the array, and it must be broken by 4 people of the same rank. If you and he become holy one day, 1 person will put down the immortal array, and the 4 saints will be able to defeat the enemy. The only pity is that this treasure can't suppress luck. As soon as Hong Jun said this, Dijun and the others were crazy envious. 1 person can set up a formation, and the 4 saints can break it. This doesn't mean that once a person is holy, he is invincible in the world. There are no more than 8 saints in this wilderness, and 7 of them are still in the same sect. Among the 7, there are Lao Tzu and Yuan Shi, and Tongtian are like a family. No matter who wants to deal with the heavenly Dao people, they can't get together the 4 saints. This heavenly saint is the most beloved disciple of Dao ancestor. The immortals couldn't help but sigh. Tongtian Dao people got the 4 swords and formation diagram of Zuxian, and he was overjoyed. he liked swordsmanship, formation, and the Xuxian sword formation was just right for him. Tongtian Taoist put away the treasure and saluted respectfully, "Thank you, teacher." Hung Jun looked at Nuwa, and Nuwa's heart tightened. "I'm looking forward to it. Nuwa, your companion magic weapon is very powerful. As a teacher, I won't give you anything else. Take this superb Lingbao red hydrangea and Shanhe Shirji map." Hung Jun came to Nuwa, and the magic weapon given to him was suddenly lowered by a grade. Nuwa was slightly lost in her heart, and secretly bitter. Her companion magic weapon, the Hongmeng Holy Sword, had long been taken away by Lu Gui's hateful monkey. However, Nuwa didn't dare to say anything, and the result was a map of red hydrangea and mountains and rivers. Nuwa injects mana into the red hydrangea, only to find that there is an unexpected surprise. She found that she didn't mention it in her heart, and Hung Jun's eyes fell on the Taoist and the quasi-Taoist. The nervousness of the guide and the quasi-guide is directly expressed on the face. If they were poor, they were the poorest. The body of the Taoist is the transformation of the bitter bamboo among the 10 spiritual roots of the ancients, and only one of the 6 pure bamboos is accompanied. The quasi-Ti Taoist is the incarnation of the innate Zhengjin Bodhi tree, and the magic weapon in his hand is the 7 treasures wonderful tree. In addition to these 2 magic weapons, the 2 of them are very poor. The 2 of them are afraid of Hung Jun and favor one over the other, and there is a big teacher, "If you don't give some benefits, I will cry." Hung Jun was helpless, and flew out of the 12 grades of merit Golden Lotus, the Green Lotus treasure color flag, the Blessing Pestle and a bunch of superb innate spirit treasures. These babes, though worse than others. But the victory is in a lot of numbers. This is a treasure for the teacher, you should put it away and practice hard. Thank you, teacher. Receiving and quasi-mention, overjoyed. The person who received the Taoist took the merit Golden Lotus, and Zunti also put away the other treasures. Hung Jun didn't bother to care how the 2 of them divided the treasure, and said to the 6 people, "Wait a minute, practice hard." The 6 disciples quickly stood up and bowed. "Thank you, Master." Divide the treasures for the 6 disciples. Hung Jun looked at the 3,000 guests who sat down, and the expressions of the other immortals were full of envy and jealousy. He said indifferently, "You have become attached to me. Lao Dao has collected a lot of spiritual treasures over the years, and they are on the treasure rock outside Xixiao Palace. If you want it, you will have a chance." After Hung Jun finished speaking, with a wave of his hand, the door of Xixiao Palace suddenly opened. Only then did everyone realize that this time, there was actually a space outside the door. On top of a rock in the void, there are all kinds of treasures. Sanking, Erdeo, Nuwa brothers and sisters, as well as Emperor Huntai and other powerful powers, their expressions changed greatly. "Go, let's hurry up and grab the baby." The disciples in Xixiao Palace rushed towards the door one after another. But faster than them, it was the Wu people. "Brothers, we robbed." Dejong gave an order and took the lead in flying out of Xixiao Palace. "Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news." Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 42. The immortals in Xixiao Palace didn't expect that these bastards of the Wu clan would actually participate in grabbing the treasure rock. Isn't it true that the Wu clan can't use magic weapons? What's the use of these spiritual treasures that they snatched? Sanking, Erdeo, and Daijun are so powerful that they vomit blood in anger. As the space and speed ancestor among the 12 witch ancestors, Dejong took the lead and had already landed on the Fenbao rock. On the treasure rock, a dazzling array of magic weapons dazzled Dejong. "I'm going, it's worthy of being a Dao ancestor, much more ruthless than our Wu clan. Let's hurry up and find it, let's not let go of the treasures that brother Lu Gui said." Dejong roared, and the immortals who rushed over behind almost fainted. The 12 ancestors came to snatch the treasure, Not for themselves, but for Lugui. The monkey. Big brother, we promise. Where is the flag that brother Lugui said? By the way, what's the other thing, Baolian lantern? The immortals were horrified to find that the 12 ancestral witches were extremely familiar with the treasures on the Fanbao rock. The 12 of them quickly separated and went in search of treasures. Hue is rampant. In the three Qings, Yuan Shi must be angry. Wave this ancient flag and rush over. Lao Tzu, Tongtian, Emperor Jun, and Tai are all angry. The 12 ancestral witches became the public enemies of the immortals for a while. I've found the flame flag. I've found the yellow flag of apricot yellow. Who saw the Pauline lamp? I only have a broken lamp here. The ancestral witches rushed into the Fanbao rock, and they immediately made a gain, and they got Lugui to raise points and snatch better treasures in a targeted manner. Not long after, 4 of the innate 5 square flags have fallen into Lugui's pocket. Zhurong put away the glass lamp. Ho Tu exclaimed in the pile of treasures, I have found the Baolian lantern. The immortals who rushed over from behind almost fainted on the Fanbao rock when they heard the words. There are almost tens of thousands of treasures on the Fanbao rock. The treasure light lingered, and it was impossible to tell whether it was good or bad, but the Wu clan was like a divine help, and the things that jumped out of the treasure pile accurately were all superb innate spirit treasures. Look for death. Yuan Shi was the first to arrive, waving the Pangu flag, and killing towards the nearest time ancestral witch candle Juyin. As soon as he made his move, he instantly angered the 12 ancestral witches. Damn, this old guy dares to do it. Kill him. It's okay not to do it, but the beginning of the action directly angers the 12 ancestors. Among the 12 ancestral witches, Dejong gave an order, and instantly separated 3 ancestral witches and went towards Yuan Shi. The 3 quasi-saints shot together. Even if there is a Pangu banner at the beginning of the Yuan, it can only be evenly divided. Boom. When the candle 9 yin summons a long river of time and falls in front of the beginning, the color of the beginning changes. Quasi-post-saint. He was shocked to find that among the 12 ancestral witches, there was no existence below the middle stage of the quasi-saint. The eldest brother Dejong, the eldest brother among the 12 ancestors, is the pinnacle of quasi-sainthood. The strength of the Wu clan is more than 1 level higher than that of the Sanking people. Dare to do it? The 12 ancestral witches have turned into the true bodies of the ancestral witches. One by one, they are hideous. Dijiang, like a yellow sack, red as a fire, 6-legged and 4-winged, Han Dun has no face, the ancestor of space speed. Jamang, green as green bamboo, bird body and human face, foot riding 2 dragons, the ancestor of oriental wood. Zhurong, the head of the beast is human, wearing red scales, the ears are piercing the fire snake, the foot is a fire dragon, and the ancestor of the southern fire. Harvest, human-faced tiger body, covered with golden scales, wings, snake in the left ear, 2 dragons on the feet, the ancestor of the western gold. Co-worker, python-headed human body, dressed in black scales, stepping on a black dragon, wrapped in a green python in his hand, the ancestor of the northern water. Xianming, it is a monstrous beast, with bone spurs all over its body, and the ancestor witch of rain/ice. Hutu, the human body has a snake tail, 7 hands behind the back, 2 hands on the chest, holding a snake in both hands, and the ancestor of the central earth. Qiang Liang, a snake in his mouth, a snake in his hand, a tiger's head and a human body, 4 hooves and feet, long elbows, and the ancestor of thunder. Candle 9 yin, the human head and dragon body, the whole body is red, the ancestor of time. Tian Wu, 8 human faces, 10 tails of the tiger body, the ancestor of the wind. Zizi, the body of a human-faced bird, a green snake in his ears, a red snake in his hand, and the ancestor of electricity. Extravagant corpse, human-faced beast body, ears like dogs, green snakes in ears, poisonous ancestor witch. The 12 ancestral witches who turned into their true bodies doubled in strength. For a time, the immortals of the flood wilderness were killed and retreated. Fenbayan was bloody for a while. Those who tried to attack the 12 ancestral witches screamed bitterly. On the contrary, the immortals who stayed out of the matter at the beginning, such as Zhen Yuanzi and Nuwa, also grabbed a lot of good things. No one noticed that in Zixiao Palace, Hongjun had a gloomy face and trembled with anger. The last link of his sermon was actually destroyed by the witch clan and the monkey. Hongjun wanted to meddle, but he couldn't. His anger gradually turned into the coercion of heaven and earth, enveloping the Fenbao rock. The two sides of the battle felt Hongjun's anger. "Brothers, the wind is howling." Dejong gave an order, and the 12 ancestral witches began to retreat. The saints were furious. After all, they couldn't care. However, the witch clan who hold grudges cannot make the enemy feel better. A glimmer of light flashed in Dejiang's eyes, and he punched over, injuring the Yuan Shi Dao person. At the same time, Hutu and Xianming joined forces and also injured Dejun. The 12 ancestors will accept it when they see it. Everywhere they passed, no matter what treasures were grabbed, and the treasures of Fenbayan fell into their hands. Dejong took the 12 ancestral witches and withdrew from the Fenbao rock. Those immortals only had a little leftovers to eat. "It's a pity," Daeza cheated, "Brother Lugui said a lot of treasures, we didn't grab them." After grabbing the magic weapon, Dejong and the others were still unsatisfied. Hongjun, who was eavesdropping in secret, almost vomited blood in anger. However, in order to complete the merits of the preaching, Hongjun forcibly suppressed his anger and looked at the 12 ancestors coldly. Fortunately, because of their withdrawal. Finally, Bayan restored the original order. Sanking, Erdeo, and Nuwa all grabbed a lot of good things. Emperor Juntai is second. Other powers again. However, Dejun and Yuanshi were injured by the 12 ancestors. Yuanshi and Dejun grabbed significantly less than others. Finally, the things on the Fenbao rock were carved up. The immortals returned in a rage. At this time, Dejong suddenly made a move, flew to the Fenbao rock quickly, and left with the Fenbao rock on his shoulder. Brother Lugui said, "This is also a good thing." Poof. When Hongjun heard this, he secretly spit out a mouthful of blood. He suppressed the anger in his heart and indifferently closed the space where the Fenbao rock was located. At this time, the sermon of the flood finally ended. Even if Hongjun is unhappy in his heart, he is happy in the face of the final result. At the end of the sermon, in an instant, merit descended from heaven. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 43. At this time, Zixiao Palace, as a purple qi gathered, and golden merit auspicious clouds shrouded the entire Zixiao Palace. Accompanied by the sound of fairy music, the colorful clouds fell, and the immortals of the flood turned back in shock. It was found that inside the Zixiao Palace, 1,000 zhang of light bloomed, and the Dao patterns evolved from the laws were suspended near the Zixiao Palace. The creation jade butterfly flew out of Zixiao Palace again, evolving into the 3,000 great avenues. At this time, the creatures of the desolation were all sensitive. Even Lugui, who was hiding in retreat in the 9 secluded land, raised his head. Wu Hongjun, today I performed the Fa for all sentient beings 3 times, and my merits are complete. Today, I am in line with the Tao. From now on, Hongjun is the way of heaven, and the way of heaven is not Hongjun. Dao He. A great force of heaven and earth that the desolate beings had never seen before condensed near the Zixiao Palace. All beings were oppressed by the power of heaven and couldn't help but kneel. At this time, Hung Jun's figure gradually blurred, and he was fused by the surrounding 3,000 avenues. Fused with the 3,000 great avenues, Hung Jun's body turned into the body of the law. Immediately afterwards, the merits of heaven began to be infused with Hung Jun. The merit is almost endless. When Hung Jun was happy, his face suddenly froze slightly, and he clearly saw the three successful virtues, heading towards the desolate world. What's going on? Why is there a lack of preaching merit in this seat? Who took the opportunity of this saint? Although his face was expressionless on the surface, Hung Jun roared in his heart. This is in harmony with the Tao and is very important to his path. Now that he has lost his three successful virtues, although it will not affect his Taoism, it will make him lose immeasurable Taoism. At least, his fusion with the heavenly Dao was postponed for countless years because of this incident. This meant that for a long time, he could only focus on merging the heavenly Dao wholeheartedly. Meritorious deeds, that monkey. Hung Jun's mind flashed the figure of 6 ears, although he didn't want to admit it. But he thinks that 6 ears are the most likely. He should have been killed a long time ago. A hint of gloom flashed in Hung Jun's eyes, but now the sermon had been accomplished. He must leave the desolation and retreat into the heavenly Dao. From now on, the calamity will not come, and the saint will not come out. Wait, do it yourself. After Hung Jun said this, he reluctantly disappeared into the desolate world. The immortals present bowed down one after another. Thank you Daozun, thank you Master. Congratulations to the Master. At the moment when the desolate beings saw Hung Jun leave, Lu Gui suddenly saw a huge amount of merit, broke through the barrier of the netherworld, and came directly towards him. Damn! Is this merit the merit of Hung Jun's preaching? Before Lu Gui could react, he was directly infused with merit into his body. His body was washed away by merit, and his cultivation skyrocketed instantly. Quasi-post-saint. Boom. Lu Gui's body was pushed to the realm of the late stage of quasi-sainthood by Hung Jun's preaching merits. The merits of Hung Jun's preaching are really terrifying, and they are not under the reincarnation of Nuwa in the future and the incarnation of the earth. After this merit pushed Lu Gui's level up to a higher level, it flowed around him again, washing his body back and forth. Lu Gifa came to his heart and offered the wishful golden hoop stick, and the remaining merit flowed into the golden hoop stick. The wishful golden hoop rod is a magic weapon of merit. The remaining 30% of Lu Gui's preaching merits are used to promote cultivation. Once successful, all poured into the golden hoop rod. The golden light of the golden hoop rod merit flowed, and it has become more powerful. The rest was done, and Lu Gui used mana to stay by his side. I didn't expect to break the news to Styx back then, and there was this windfall. I am now in the late stage of the quasi-saint. As long as I polish the Dao heart, I can enter the peak realm of the quasi-saint. The pinnacle of the quasi-saint, and the quasi-saint, cannot be completed by accumulating mana. Otherwise, Lu Gui was washed away by merit and rushed up directly. In the late stage of his promotion to the quasi-saint, Lu Gui has already beheaded 3 corpses, but at present, he has only beheaded 1 doppelganger of the reincarnation Taoist. The rest is still clueless. I seem to have a vague relationship with the desolate tunnel. Now that the cultivation has reached a bottleneck, why don't you be in the 9 shadows and see what treasures are worth looking for? In the 9 shadows world, Lu Gui has already found almost everything. The only place that has not been explored is the Styx River where the reincarnation of the purple lotus grows. This river of Styx is an endless collection of netherworld waters, and it is extremely cold. Lu Gui sank his body into the river Styx, even his chaos demon god's body felt full of pressure. In the depths of the river Styx, there is chaos. This is the deepest part of the 9 shades, the place where the flood desolate tunnel awakens. In the dark chaos bell, Lu Gui vaguely saw several magic weapons being born. Some of these magic weapons have already failed, and some are about to succeed. Reincarnation disc, this is the natal law of the future netherworld. Lu Gui saw a magic weapon for making finished products, and he thought about it. The reincarnation of the post-Earth body was supposed to awaken the desolate tunnel. As the desolate and desolate path among the three realms of heaven, earth, and man, the core law is the law of reincarnation among the 10 laws. The 10 laws, the authentic laws, are honored by the laws of reincarnation, cause and effect, life and death, etc. The laws of life and death are turned into books. Reincarnation is reincarnation. In the 9 netherworld, there should still be a natural spirit treasure that has not yet been born. Causal will. Lu Gui quickly found the treasure. However, Lu Gui did not go to pick it up. These treasures have not yet been conceived, and it is useless to take them. Lu Gui continued to sink, and soon there was a treasure that caught his attention. This treasure is a fragment, floating lonely at the bottom of the river, out of place with the surrounding spiritual treasures. But it also nourishes the treasures around it. This treasure evolution avenue, Lu Gui recognized what it was at a glance. Fragments of the jade butterfly. It's a bonus. Lu Gui hurriedly stretched out his hand and wanted to take the creation jade butterfly in his hand, but suddenly there was a faint will to stop him from doing so. This will is too weak. If it weren't for Lu Gui's movement of the creation jade butterfly, it wouldn't have reacted. Flood tunnel. Lu Gui was amazed, this faint will turned out to be a desolate tunnel. But at this time, this will is really very weak. The existence of the jade butterfly is the foundation of the attachment of the desolate tunnel. Lu Gui pondered for a while, but still took the creation jade butterfly away. The flood is desolate, and the reaction is slight, but there is no joy or sorrow. It is not an awakening at all at this time, at most an instinctive reaction. This semi-successful virtue can be regarded as compensating you. After Lu Gui took away the jade butterfly, he gave the semi-successful virtue he had obtained to the Honghuang tunnel. This will is slightly stronger. I 1/4 OE. There was a sense of affection for Lu Gui. The opportunity is not ripe. Lu Gui found the flood desolate tunnel, because his movements were strong, and he was also very happy. However, I understand that the opportunity has not yet come. He turned away from the depths of the netherworld. Read books on Friday and have fun, charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. To rush immediately, event period, April 29th to May 3rd. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, detective with 6 ears. Chapter 44. Creation of Jade Butterflies. Lu Gui paid for the surface of the river Styx, and once again took out the fragment of the jade butterfly of creation, which he had seen Honghuang use in Xixiao Palace. The jade butterfly of creation, the chaos bead, the heaven opening axe, and the chaos blue lotus are all chaos treasures. However, except for the chaos bead, which represents the escaped one, the other 3 chaos arcana have all been disintegrated. The creation blue lotus is decomposed into many treasures, including the divine killer spear, the 12 rank lotus platforms, and the creation blue lotus. The open heaven axe is divided into 3 major open heaven treasures, Pangu flag, Taiji diagram, and chaos bell. And the creation of the jade butterfly did not differentiate, but cracked when the sky opened. Except for Honghuang, who has about 2/3 of the fragments in his hand, the others are missing. The fragment of the creation jade butterfly in Lu Gui's hand was the size of a palm, which was a very large fragment. He integrated consciousness into the jade butterfly of creation. Instantly enter a state of epiphany. Here, there are 72 laws, one of which is the law of fate. In Lu Gui's mind, various laws kept coming up. He realized in his heart and began to comprehend the laws in the jade butterfly with all his might. Time flies. The flood does not remember the year, and 10,000 years have passed. Lu Gui looked up to the sky and roared. There are more than 100 kinds of laws, and Lu Gui has at least deduced them to the realm of initial formation. Among them, the law of fate is even more small. Now, in the netherworld Blood Sea, there is no need to stay any longer. I should continue to look for a corpse treasure that fits me. Lu Gui stayed under the netherworld Blood Sea for so many years, and finally decided to leave. He turned into a ray of light and flew into a sea of blood. At this time, Lu Gui saw the Styx ancestor, and flew towards the distance with the blood light in the sky, with a murderous look on one's face. Where is the Styx ancestor? Lu Gui flew over directly, and the Styx ancestor was pleasantly surprised when he saw Lu Gui. Meet the six-eared seniors. Where are you going? Lu Gui asked. Styx ancestor's face turned red, and then he smiled gloomily. The six-eared predecessors don't know, and now Daijun has formed an alliance to besiege Honghuang. Force Zhen Yuanzi to hand over the red cloud and hand over the Hongmeng purple qi. I. Go and give. Zhen Yuanzi. Help. As soon as Lu Gui heard it, he understood. He didn't need the Styx ancestor to say, he directly operated his supernatural power to listen to heaven and earth, and he had already faintly heard the movement. Hongmeng purple gas. When Hung Junda's sermon ended, the immortals besieged Hongyuan, but Zhen Yuanzi's magic weapon was powerful, and he escorted Hongyuan back to the flood all the way. With a serious injury, Zhen Yuanzi returned to Honghuang with the red cloud and laid down a large array of mixed ancestral veins. Keeping everyone out there. The immortals of the flood wilderness have besieged Zhen Yuanzi for many years, and there has been no way. Now Penglai Immortal Court and Demon Clan Heavenly Court seem to be sure that they will break through the Honghuang view in one fell swoop. When Lu Gui heard this, he was slightly stunned. This Emperor Jun and the Eastern princes are very confident. You must know that Zhen Yuanzi is the ancestor of the Earth Immortals, and the Book of the Earth is in his hand. As long as he stands on the earth is his backing. The mixed Yuan ancestral vein great array is a great array of desolation with the Book of the Ground as the leader. Although in the midst of the flood, it is not famous. But Lu Gui knew that it was because Zhen Yuanzi was low-key. Zhen Yuanzi's mixed Yuan ancestral vein great array is definitely one of the top 10 strongest formations in the flood wilderness. Emperor Jun and the Prince of the East both underestimated the strength of Zhen Yuanzi. Lu Gui asked Styx, you didn't hear what I said last time. That Hongmeng purple qi is just Hung Jun left to calculate you unlucky bastards, and it can't be refined. The Styx ancestor had a sneering expression, and Lu Gui squinted. Knowing the careful thinking of the Styx ancestor, no matter how much he trusts Lu Gui, a Hongmeng purple qi of enlightenment opportunity. I can't help but be moved by the Styx ancestor. Although he has a relationship with Zhen Yuanzi, it doesn't mean that he won't make a yin move. Lu Gui glanced at him and didn't care. Styx is suspicious and murderous by nature, and Lu Gui is not surprised by his behavior. You preach by chance, not here, believe it or not. You're not going to Honghuang Temple, I'll go with you. After Lu Gui finished speaking, he transformed into a blood god son beside the Styx ancestor and followed him. At this time, the flood is famine, and the 5 villages are viewed. Zhen Yuanzi is setting up a large array of mixed ancestral veins, facing the immortals outside. Zhen Yuanzi, if you hand over the red cloud, or the Hongmeng purple qi, the old man can consider letting you go. The nasty voice of the Prince of the East came from outside. Prince Dong, what are you, Zhen Yuanzi? Hand over the Hongmeng purple qi to my heavenly court, and my heavenly court will allow you the best innate magic weapon, a Japanese essence wheel. The 2 major forces of heavenly court, immortal court, eastern princes, and Emperor Jun are outside the Honghuang temple. Zhen Yuanzi's face was bitter. He turned around, old friend, this Hongmeng purple qi, you haven't refined it yet. Hongyuan ancestor shook his head, it's been 10,000 years, this Hongmeng purple qi has no limit to refining at all. Maybe the old man hasn't arrived. When Zhen Yuanzi heard this, he asked tentatively. Old friend, I told you the words of the six-eared senior, this Hongmeng purple chi may be really weird. Hongyun's face sank. Old friend, that six-eared monkey, why did you hear him say so much? However, if you can't bear it, can I hand over this purple chi to them? Zhen Yuanzi looked displeased when he heard Hongyun say this. Don't worry, I'm mixing the ancestral vein great array, it's not so easy to break. As soon as he finished speaking, the void outside the Wuzhuang temple shook. The immortal court and the heavenly court began to attack the Wuzhuang temple again. Emperor Jun, the prince of the east, you and I are also fellow disciples of Zixiao Palace, are you doing this too much? He roared angrily, in exchange for a sneer from Emperor Jun and the eastern prince. Janayuan Zidaiu, the battle of the avenue, who told you what kind of friendship? If you don't hand it over today, we won't leave. Dijun and Tai's answer made Zhen Yuanzi furious, you are just bullying me and the two of us are weak, then the three clear and two Dao Nuwa, why don't you go and rob it? Okay, I'll see how you break through my mixed Yuan ancestral vein great array today. Emperor Jun and the Prince of the East saw that Zhen Yuanzi didn't know what to do, and their expressions were ugly. If the mixed Yuan ancestral vein great array was so easy to break, they wouldn't have tried to persuade it. Well, that's no wonder this king. Emperor Jun waved his hand, Tai raised the East Emperor bell, and there was a shock. The infinite power fell on the mixed Yuan ancestral vein great array, and there was a bang. The great array shook violently. The other besieged immortals, feeling the power of the chaos bell, changed their expression slightly. This heavenly treasure is really powerful. At this time, the Styx ancestor came with his blood. Emperor Jun and the Eastern Prince, as well as other immortals, looked at him coldly. You alien, dare to join in the fun. Styx ancestor, who was instantly squeezed by Emperor Jun, turned red-faced. Why can't I join in the fun? Dao ancestor is an outcast, but he is the enemy of my Suanman. Get out. Go with your monkey master. It is rare for the Prince of the East to stand on the same side as Dijun and reprimand the ancestor of the Styx. Lu Gui, who became the doppelganger of the Styx ancestor, smiled when he heard this. He saw that the river Styx was about to run wild, and secretly suppressed the river Styx. Wait, see how they break the formation. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 45. Lu Gui was a little curious, under the protection of the mixed Yuan ancestral vein great array, how could they break the formation? The death of Hongyun that he knew was at the hands of Kunpeng. However, because of the appearance of Lu Gui, the course of history was changed, and Dijun sat on a futon. In other words, there is no such plot in the history of the flood famine. The Styx ancestor was ridiculed by the Eastern princes and Emperor Jun, and his anger was high, but he listened to Lu Gui's words and endured it. The Styx ancestor sneered and stepped back to the immortals who were hiding on the sidelines and waiting for the opportunity to move. Hongmeng purple chi is not just coveted by the Eastern princes and Emperor Jun. Almost all of the great powers of the wilderness came. When Emperor Jun and the Eastern princes saw Styx retreating, they didn't stimulate him. After all, the Styx ancestor is a quasi-saint, and it has only been 10,000 years since the Dao ancestor preached at this time. Everyone is still in the early stage of quasi-sainthood, and if a quasi-saint is determined to find trouble, no one is having a good time. After forcing back the river Styx, Emperor Jun and the Eastern princes were again in tension. From the news of listening to heaven and earth, Lu Gui vaguely knew the current situation of the two heavenly courts. The Penglai immortal court of the Eastern Prince, all the immortals gathered. Emperor Jun's demon clan heavenly court, surrounded by 10,000 demons. And behind both sides stood the disciples of the saints, the future saints. Behind the demon clan is Nuwa, and behind Penglasienting is Sanking. Seeing that Heavenly Court and Immortal Court were about to fight, at this time, Dejun stretched out his hand to stop the demon clan's subordinates. The Prince of the East, you and I both have to break the formation. If anyone interferes with anyone, everyone should not try to do things. Bendai asked you to break the formation first. If you can't, I'll come again. Emperor Jun's proposal, the Prince of the East immediately agreed. In order to avoid suspicion, Dejun took the demon clan back thousands of miles. Waiting for the demon clan to push away, the Prince of the East sneered, and he and the Queen Mother of the West glanced at each other. The Queen Mother of the West and the Prince of the East each turned into a wisp of yin and yang. Yin-yang Kunlun Great Array. This Eastern Princess and Western Queen Mother, the idea of breaking the formation with a formation. Lu Gui dispersed the blood god Sun and stood beside the river Styx. Daijun, and the others, all found out about his existence. The monkey. When Dejun saw Lu Gui, a flash of brilliance flashed in his eyes. Tai, big brother, this monkey, the soul is condensed, the Dao body is natural, and the strength is so strong. Now that my demon clan is in heaven, he is also a demon clan. Do you want to? Dejun looked at the trace of demon emperor merit on Lu Gui's body, and his anger rose. If it weren't for this monkey robbing him of the first ray of merit in the heavenly court, his cultivation might be even higher than it is now. Dejun understood what Tai meant. Lu Gui appeared with a big grin, and now Hongjun has joined forces. Tai had the intention of summoning Lu Gui in. Second brother, the six-eared macaque is jealous, not from my demon clan, don't act rashly. This kind of alien is not close, not an enemy. Big brother, you misunderstood what I meant. This monkey is a Dao ancestor's scruples, but after all, his strength is strong. We're having a hard time fighting the witch clan, so it's better to let it be cannon fodder. The two brothers used secret language to transmit sounds, but all this fell into the ears of Lu Gui, who was a six-eared macaque who listened to the world. How could Daijun and Tai escape his eyes and ears? When Lu Gui heard this, he sneered. For the sake of being a demon clan, he didn't take the initiative to trouble them. If this Emperor Jun Tai dares to calculate him, don't blame him. At this time, the Eastern Princes and the Western Queen Mother had already formed the Yin and Yang Kunlun Great Array. The Prince of the East and the Queen Mother of the West have a Yin and a Yang, with the Kunlun mirror as the array, directly turning into the shadow of Kunlun Mountain. I see, there are masters behind them to guide them, break through mountains with mountains, and compete for the ley lines. Lu Gui instantly understood what the Eastern Princes and the Western Queen Mother were doing. They used the Yin-Yang Kunlun array, not to use force to break through the mixed Yuan ancestral vein Great Array. The mixed Yuan ancestral vein Great Array connected the desolate land Qi, and the mana was endless, and under normal circumstances, it could not be broken at all. The Prince of the East and the Queen Mother of the West broke the ground with mountains, and they couldn't say that it was wrong. After all, if Kunlun could take away the earth's support for the great array of mixed Yuan ancestral veins, this would indeed be a way to break the formation. But Lu Gui knew that the Eastern Princes would lose, and the reason was simple. Zhen Yuanzi is the ancestor of the Earth Immortals, and the Book of the Earth is in his body, and he is the person who protects the luck of the desolate land. Compete with Zhen Yuanzi for land? It's like a grasshopper shaking a tree. Sure enough, the Yin-Yang Kunlun Great Array devoured the desolate land Qi at the beginning, and there was still a little feedback from the protection of Wuzhuang Guandi. But when Zhen Yuanzi stabilized his position, Wuzhuang Guan was still towering. This made the Prince of the East tremble with anger. Suddenly, Zhen Yuanzi triggered the Earth's Qi, causing the Kunlun array to collapse directly. Ha ha ha. Lu Gui laughed heartlessly. The Prince of the East turned around. Is it you? When he saw an enemy whom he had not seen for 10,000 years, he was angry and ruined. Green Prince, no. Soft Prince, no. Your Majesty the Eastern Prince, long time no see. Lu Guiu is not shocking, and he will squeeze the Prince of the East in one sentence. The Prince of the East knew that he was talking about Lu Gui's sending the Queen Mother of the West, Penglai. Suddenly his face turned pale. Lu Gui's words made Dong Huang Tai and Emperor Jun also laugh. Di Jun mentioned it just now, and Yan Yan said with a smile on his face. Brother Six-Eared has a point. It's worthy of being the big demon of my demon clan. Lu Gui squinted at him with contempt, and without speaking, Di Jun was secretly angry in his heart. If he hadn't wanted to win over Lu Gui to be cannon fodder, he wouldn't have let go of the grievances he had had many years ago and took the initiative to show weakness to Lu Gui. Seeing that Lu Gui didn't know how to lift, Di Jun's face couldn't hold back. When the Prince of the East saw it, he laughed sarcastically. Di Jun snorted, Tai, set up the formation. As the Emperor of Heaven was hardened, the Eastern Emperor Tai laughed and flew into the sky, and the chaos bell suppressed the earth, water, fire, and wind. Lu Gui's Hung was curious, what formation did Di Jun want to use to break the ban of Zhen Yuanzi? Could it be that he used Zhou Tianxingdu to attack strongly? However, the Eastern Emperor made a move, which made Lu Gui's eyes crack. The chaos spell of the Eastern Emperor Tai suddenly fell on many witches. There are at least tens of thousands of people in this witch clan. Di Jun's face was expressionless. Kill. Dong Huang Tai nodded when he heard this, and the Dong Huang bell rang. Bang. 10,000 Wu people exploded into a blood mist in an instant. The evil aura left behind after the death of the Wu people engulfed the entire Wuzhuang temple in an instant. This guy is so poisonous. Lu Gui was taken aback by Di Jun's fierceness, and at the same time understood what this guy was doing. He still followed the same path as the Eastern Prince, taking away the ley lines. But Di Jun's methods are more cruel and effective than those of the Eastern Princes. The Wu people's cultivation of evil qi is born from the chaotic turbid qi of heaven and earth. After they died, the evil aura left behind, Di Jun slightly guided. You can pollute the root of the mixed Yuan ancestral vein great array. As soon as Di Jun's vicious plan came out, Zhen Yuanzi of Wuzhuangguan turned pale. Tai, put another 10,000. Kill. Tai released 10,000 witches again, and this time, Lu Gui actually met an acquaintance. De Wu Zhifeng, he was also arrested by Tai. Lu Gui sighed, knowing that it was time for him to make a move. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 46. Lu Gui is not inclined to either the Demon Clan or the Witch Clan. When he was rejected by Hung Jun, he was actually an outlier. Whether it is a demon clan or an immortal, as long as it is a subordinate of the Suanmen, they will all leave him. Even Daijun, Tai, Fuxi, and even Nuwa, who are also demon clans, are all like this. He can't talk about sympathizing with the demon clan, but he can't talk about being close to the witch clan. It's just that he has a good relationship with the 12 ancestors, and it looks like he has a good relationship with the Wu clan. Because only the Wu clan is not a member of Hung Jun Suanmen, and is willing to be close to him. 10,000 Wu people were killed, and there was no joy or sorrow when Lu Gui emerged. But Zhifeng was captured by the Eastern Emperor Tai, and Lu Gui couldn't see death without help. The Great Witch Zhifeng is the sister of the ancestor Wu Qiangliang and the disciple of the ancestor Wu Xianming, the future leader of the Wu clan. She and Qiangliang are just a few chances, otherwise, she is also one of the ancestors. Zhen Yuanzi is an important person, and this time he just betrayed his favor by the way. Lu Gui thought in his heart, and at the moment when Dong Huang Tai rang the chaos bell, a small purple-black gourd flew out of his hand. The gourd is surrounded by the Taoyuan circulation, which has both the avenue of creation and the breadth of attack. Honghuang's sword gourd, the best innate treasure that Lu Gui himself fused, appeared in his hand. Facing the devastating movement of the chaos bell. With a wave of Lu Gui's hand, 10,000 sword chi flew out from the Honghuang sword blade. Suddenly, heaven and earth change. The space where the chaos bell settled in water, fire, and wind was cut clean by Lu Gui. The Eastern Emperor was caught off guard, vomited blood, and retreated. Monkey. 6 ears. What do you do? Emperor Jun, Tai, Dong Gong and others were furious. 6 ears and a sword slashed the formation of the Eastern Emperor Tai, causing everyone to be angry. It was the Wu people. Zhou Feng looked at Lu'er and shouted, 6-eared senior, help. 6-eared, are you a witch? Emperor Jun was so angry that a big hat was buttoned up. The Wu clan and the Demon clan, now after the establishment of Heavenly Court, have gradually intensified their contradictions. Just as the witch hunted the Demon clan also began to rebel against the ancestral witch. This time, in order to seize the opportunity to preach, Dijun simply captured many people from the Wu clan, who were also prisoners of the war. It can be seen that the two Lich clans have begun to walk towards the road of flood and desolation. The hatred of the two Lich clans gradually deepened, and as soon as Emperor Jun's hat was buttoned, all the demons looked at each other angrily. Lu Gui smiled. Emperor Jun, when did you think of me as a demon? Who is a demon in this world? What is the standard of the Demon clan? Dijun was stopped by Lu Gui's words, and Lu Gui asked again. Why do you represent the Demon clan? On his body, he belonged to the first wisp of Heavenly Emperor's merit in Heavenly Court, looming, and Emperor Jun's face turned green with anger. He is an Emperor of Heaven, and the merits of the Emperor of Heaven are not as deep as a monkey. Lu Gui's words made him speechless. Big brother, don't talk nonsense with him, since he is determined to protect the Wu clan, we will kill him. Tai suffered a small loss from Lu Gui just now, and he was not convinced. The Chaos Bell was sacrificed again, and this time the Chaos Bell emitted a buzzing vibration, and the surrounding earth, water, fire, and wind were all suppressed. Lu Gui only felt that he couldn't move. But the next moment, he smiled and broke free directly. Chaos Demon Ape, Ruyi Demon Ape, Pangu Divine Ape, the three major bloodlines, overlapped and appeared on Lu Gui's body. In an instant, he broke all the laws. With a wishful golden hoop stick in his hand, he headed towards the Eastern Emperor Tai. Lu Gui's movement is almost obscuring the sky. The Chaos Bell couldn't stop Lu Gui, his fighting spirit was monstrous, and he used his own fighting to defeat the magic power and cut down the sky. Lu Gui was a stick, as if he was going to stab the sky. All the obstacles created by the Eastern Emperor Tai were shattered and defeated. Quasi-Saint, late stage. Daijun, Tai, and the onlookers were shocked. Nowadays, no one believes that Lu Gui will not be able to pass on the truth. He clearly has the most orthodox heritage. Tai looked at Lu Gui with a warlike look, and his Dao heart moved slightly. This gave Lu Gui a hint of fighters. He smashed a stick on the Honghuang bell. Boom. Although Tai had the Eastern Emperor bell to protect his body, he was not injured. But it's not comfortable. He was about to stop a decent counterattack. Suddenly, Lu Gui slashed out a clone, holding a god-killing spear. The god-killing spear can kill the saint and the original god. Tai was so frightened that his soul flew away. Ran away directly. The god of war in the heavenly court, Honghuang Tai, was scared away by Lu Gui. Lu Gui put away the god-killing spear, the Ruyi golden hoop stick, and lifted the Wu people from the ban. Zhou Feng, 6-eared senior, thank you for saving your life. Her beautiful eyes fell on Lu Gui, gentle as water. Lu Gui was non-committal, looking around. Emperor Jun, Tai, the Prince of the East, and other great powers of the wilderness, looked at the monkey standing there, angry. After Lu Gui rescued the Wu clan. Dijun, Lu Gui, do you really want to be an enemy of the demon clan for the sake of the Wu clan? Lu Gui was indifferent. Dijun, I said, you can't represent the demon clan. Moreover, today is obviously to grab benefits, don't talk about yourself in a great way. These 5 villages, I have 6 earmuffs, you guys disperse. When he said this, he was extremely arrogant. Not only Emperor Jun, but also the people of the Eastern Princes and other immortal courts were also furious. Eastern Prince. Monkey, who gave you the courage to dominate Hongmeng Purple Chi by yourself? Lu Gui didn't bother to pay attention to this fool. His Hongmeng sword flew behind him, and the cold light flashed. In an instant, the sword light of thousands of Zhang directly took the people in the Penglai Immortal Court of the East Imperial Palace. The Prince of the East and others were furious. The sword light exploded, and the Prince of the East and the Queen Mother of the West vomited blood and retreated. The immortals of the Fairy Court have suffered countless casualties. I didn't consult with you. Lu Gui glanced at Dijun, and Dijun's scalp was numb. He turned around and walked towards Wuzhuangguan. In Wuzhuangguan, Zhen Yuanzi was dumbfounded, looked at Lu Gui in horror, and forgot to open the big array for Lu Gui for a while. But Lu Gui stretched out his hand, and the power of the Chaos Demon God directly tore a hole in the Chaos Ancestral Vein Great Array. Everyone was stunned. Zhen Yuanzi hurriedly opened a road for Lu Gui and let Lu Gui enter. The Wu people also followed Lu Gui in. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 47. Lu Gui took the ancestral witch into Wuzhuang Temple, but he blew up the Eastern Princes and Emperor Jun. Lu Gui, an outlier, slashed the crowd with one sword, and ruthlessly lost the face of these people. That monkey, it's strong. That gourd-shaped treasure in his hand, I feel no less than my chaos clock. Dong Huangtai said with a calm face. Dijun's face was even worse after hearing this, and Lu returned to the late stage of the saint and suppressed the flood famine. Speaking of which, at present, there is no one who is an opponent of Lu Gui. Even if the Hongjun Taoists sat down with the 6 major disciples, it was the same. The monkey humiliates our immortal court, this tone can't be counted. On the other side, the Prince of the East also gritted his teeth and said to the Queen Mother of the West. The Queen Mother of the West looked at Lu Gui thoughtfully. She said, now that there is a flood and famine, he is the only one who has attained the late stage of the quasi-holy stage, and I don't know how this monkey did it. Dongwang Gong said, his ability, listening to the world, must have obtained the true transmission from Dao ancestor or others before, otherwise, where else can it come from? The Queen Mother of the West feels justified. Let's go back. The Queen Mother of the West proposed, now that monkey wants to keep Wuzhuang Temple, it's useless for us to stay here. And that monkey, I guess I don't have a good heart when I go in, since he can preach the Tao and quasi-saint in the later stage, he will also think about how to preach. Maybe he's here for Hongmeng Purple Chi. Today's grievances, we still keep them until our strength, and then settle the account. The Prince of the East thought about it, and it made sense, he was really angry that Lu Gui was bullying people. Friends of the Queen Mother of the West, you will first go to Penglai Immortal Island, I will go to Kunlun Mountain, and invite Sanking as a guest. After the Prince of the East finished speaking, he drifted towards Kunlun Mountain. And on the heavenly court side, he also had the same guess as the Eastern Prince. Emperor Jun and Tai retreated with the demon clan. The other immortals retreated. There are only 1 or 2 unwilling people who are still hovering outside the Wuzhuang Temple. In Wuzhuangguan, Zhen Yuanzi waited for Lu Gui to come in, and hurriedly bowed and saluted. 6-eared senior, you are really clever, Zhen Yuanzi is convinced. Zhen Yuanzi was completely convinced by Lu Gui, if it weren't for Lu Gui's reminder, After he finished preaching in Zixiao Palace, others were still immersed in the perception of competing for treasures and Dao ancestors, and he pulled Hongyun away as soon as possible. If not, in the face of 3,000 guests in the red dust, Zhen Yuanzi may not be able to escort Hongyun back to Wuzhuang Temple alive. Today, if it weren't for Lu Gui, just Dijun's methods would definitely be able to pollute his ancestral lineage array. After all, Lu Gui has already saved him and Hongyun twice. Hongyun, come here and meet the six-eared senior. Zhen Yuanzi drank to the Red Cloud ancestor, and the Red Cloud ancestor came over and bowed down. Thank you, Six-Ear Senpai. Red Cloud ancestor is very polite to Lu Gui. Lu Guideo, the Hongmeng purple qi on your body can't be refined, right? This is deliberately released by Hongjun in order to block the mouths of the world. You can't refine Hongmeng purple qi, so don't force it on your body, otherwise there will be murder. Hongyun ancestor, although Lu Gui doesn't look down on him, he also admits that he is a good person. So a kind reminder. However, Hongyun ancestor Ai hesitated, and Lu Gui knew that this product would definitely not hand over Hongmeng purple qi. He turned to Zhen Yuanzi and said, "That's all I say, you guys do it yourself. If you're not reconciled, don't go out." Zhen Yuanzi breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. To be honest, Dijun and their doubts, Zhen Yuanzi also had them. Hongmeng purple gas, who doesn't want it? But Lu Gui's style made Zhen Yuanzi even more convinced that Lu Gui had no last resort. This is the purpose of Lu Gui today. He looked back at Hongyun, still with that big grin, and sneered secretly in his heart, this guy is going to die, who can stop him? Lu Gui didn't say much more, and after 3 years of discussing with Zhen Yuanzi, he was going to leave with the Wu clan. After Zhen Yuanzi found out, he asked the boy Qin Feng Minjiao to send 30 ginseng fruits. This ginseng fruit is one of the 10 spiritual roots of heaven and earth. Zhen Yuanzi is the transformation of ginseng fruit. This fruit has to ripen a batch in 10,000 years, eat one, can prolong life for tens of thousands of years. Although Lu Gui doesn't need to prolong his life, he still thanks Zhen Yuanzi. He took the Wu people and headed all the way towards Buzhu Mountain. It's gone, years. Hongyun was very thoughtful, and he was about to go out for a walk. Zhen Yuanzi persuaded him. The six-eared seniors said, "You must be careful, if you don't hand over the Hongmeng purple qi, stay in the Wuzhuang temple for retreat." Hongyun smiled, "Old friend, everyone is gone, it's okay. I will keep a low profile." Hongyun ancestor did not stop the persuasion of Zhen Yuanzi and left Wuzhuang temple. Zhen Yuanzi had no choice but to let him go. It's just that I didn't go far. Near Wuzhuang temple, a big bird suddenly flew out of the mountains and rivers. Red Cloud ancestor, suddenly attacked. His expression changed dramatically. He hurried to use his mana to fight the man. It's a pity that the other party's mana and supernatural powers are not comparable to Hongyun. Coupled with his natal magic weapon, the red gourd of the 99 scattered spirits was also obtained by Lu Gui. Hongmeng purple qi, hand it over. Kun Peng, is that you? Red Cloud ancestor, only then did he know the identity of the other party. The demon clan's big demon, Kun Peng ancestor. Kun Peng ancestor, with a cruel smile, rushed straight to the red cloud. His strong body tore apart the red cloud's body, and the red cloud disappeared. Hongmeng purple qi, it's mine. Kun Peng laughed, but his smile quickly froze on his face. Because the Hongmeng purple qi that flew out of Hongyun's body disappeared into the void? No. Kun Peng was unwilling and couldn't help but roar. However, on the side of Wuzhuangguan, there was a vague reaction. He spread his wings and flew away directly. When Zhen Yuanzi came to the scene, only the red cloud that had been scattered was left. Zhen Yuanzi was furious. "Whoever kills my old friend, I will kill you." But at this time, no one responded to him, and Zhen Yuanzi was angry and thought of Lu Gui. Six-eared seniors, Really clever, only Sai Hongyun Fubo, only hate Hongjun too ruthless. Knowing the ins and outs of the matter, Zhen Yuanzi even vaguely hated Hongjun. The six-eared seniors are listening to the world, and they will definitely know who is the murderer of my old friend. Zhen Yuanzi thought of this and flew to the territory of the Wu clan. At this time, the ghost is bragging with Xianming, Hutu, and others. Six-eared Taoist, it's better for you to set up a dojo in Buzhu Mountain. How close are you to our Wu clan? Ho Tu casually made a request, and the six ears laughed. I saved Zhifeng, and I have been treated as a demon traitor. If you live in the Wu clan again, I'm afraid it will be. Xianming snorted coldly, that Emperor Jun, you don't care what he does, you are the Pangu bloodline, and you are my brothers and sisters. Demon clan and witch clan, dare to hurt my Wu clan disciples, you can't do it, I will lead people to kill the heavenly court. Xianming ancestor witch was murderous, and Lu Gui shook his head. In any case, the hatred between the witch clan and the demon clan is getting deeper and deeper. Xianming girl, the two lich clans, are just pawns in the hands of Dao ancestors, I advise you to be cautious. As soon as he spoke, Hutu and Xianming were shocked. Now the Wu clan is convinced by Lu Gui, and Lu Gui's words have the meaning of words, which makes the ancestors and witches frightened. Don't forget, who is the protagonist of the Dragon Han tribulation? It's the overlord of heaven and earth. Lu Gui's words are all here, stop in time. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 48. Lu Gui, you mean, the tribulation has risen again, and our Wu clan is the protagonist of the tribulation. Ho Tu and Xianming straightened their bodies suddenly. Lu Gui smiled playfully, but did not continue the topic. The matter of measuring the catastrophe is known to be a big surprise at a glance, even if he explodes now, even if the two girls believe in themselves again. Nor will I be convinced of such a thing. Broke the news, and the explosion was cool. But how to maximize the benefits, Lu Gui still needs to consider. Seeing that he was pretending to be a god stick, Hutu and Xianming had no choice. Xianming's eyes rolled, and he suddenly grabbed Lu Gui's hand. Luer, what do you say? Lu Gui was like an electric shock, and withdrew his hand. Sister, your own people, don't open up, my scalp is numb. You. Xianming saw that he was finally coquettish, but he actually reacted like this, and he was ashamed and angry. Ho Tu Ming's mouth smiled, and his eyes were like crescent moons. Lu Gui and the 12 ancestral witches, the Wu clan, have become very close over the years. The 2 ancestral witches also have a kind of affection for Lu Gui. The Wu clan is different from the demon clan. The demon clan has a deep hatred for the Wu clan, but the Wu clan has never been in the eyes of the demon clan. Naturally, they don't have the idea that the lich doesn't share the sky. What's more, in their eyes, Lu Gui is not an ordinary demon clan, but a descendant of Pangu. The tenderness of the Hutu girl is like water, and Lu Gui is not a fool, so he can naturally see it. He was happy to fight with the 2 ancestors. At this time, Zhifeng walked in. 6-eared senior, there is a Taoist named Zhen Yuanzi outside asking to see. Lu Gui smiled, it's him who is waiting, let him come in. Hutu and Xianming looked at each other. Zhen Yuanzi, under the guidance of Zhifengdi, came to Lu Gui. He still had a sad look on his face. Lu Guideo. The murderer is Kunpeng ancestor, but he didn't get Hongmeng purple chi, that thing is gone. I said, Hongmeng purple gas is the toy left by Hongjun. Now, he has taken it away. After Lu Gui said this, a system prompt sounded in his mind. The host broke the news about the death of Red Cloud, the level of revelation, C, the reaction level, Fengruo God. Overall rating, B. The host gets a reward, the innate spirit treasure soul bead. The host gains mana for 50,000 years. The host obtains 1 origin of battle, 1 origin of strength. Sky-splitting palm mission, 5/10. Damn. Lu Gui was taken aback by the news that he broke casually, and the revelation itself did not have anything special. The death of the Red Cloud ancestor will at most give a reward that is better than nothing. But what surprised him was the new level of reaction, worship as a god 1. Half believed, convinced, like a god. Of the 3 major reaction levels, he finally saw the last one. It can be seen from this that Zhen Yuanzi has a lot of trust in himself. Kunpeng ancestor. Thank you for the 6-eared seniors, Hong Jun has no way, count me as my best friend. Now Zhen Yuanzi is incompetent, so he can only find Kunpeng to settle accounts. Zhen Yuanzi thanked Lu Gui, turned around and left. Lu Gui waited for him to leave, and then stood up as well. Fellow Taoist, you want to leave too? Hutu girl was slightly reluctant. Lu Gui replied, I still have some opportunities to get, you are right, I should also go to find a cave heaven as a dojo. Ho Tu nodded when he heard this, and immediately let people come out with some magic weapons. 6-eared Taoist, this is the magic weapon that our Wu clan got in the Fenbao rock. Thank you. Lu Gui looked at the Hutu girl, the baby handed over, and was short of breath. The Wutu apricot yellow flag and the flame flag off the ground in the innate 5 flags, the Baolian lamp, and the Fenbayan. The 12 ancestral witches were really powerful, and most of the things that Lu Gui was hoping for on the Fenbao rock were robbed by them. The innate 5 flags, Lu Gui has already obtained 4. Coupled with other bits and pieces of magic weapons, it is simply a fortune. Most of the magic weapons here are not used by him, but this does not prevent him from forming forces to win people's hearts in the future, right? Whether he wants to establish a religion in the future, or occupy the mountain as king. There are benefits. Put these magic weapons away, and Lu Gui said thank you. Ho Tu pursed his lips, the 12 drops of Pangukal given by Daiyu have made the power of my 12 ancestors soar. That's out. If you establish a dojo in the future, don't dislike our sisters. No. Lu Gui laughed, left a sentence, turned into brilliance, and flew out of the territory of the Wu clan. At this time, in terms of steps, Nuo was refining Hongmeng purple qi and was drinking tea with Fuxi. Seeing the sound and shadow of Lu Gui heading towards the East China Sea, Fu 11 snorted coldly, as a demon clan, but he is close to the Wu clan, this monkey is a traitor. Nuo said, he is close to the Wu clan, not because the demon clan also rejects him, only the Wu clan is willing to get close to him. Now that I see that he is strong, it is too late to win people's hearts. Fu 11 was so stressed by the girl that she couldn't say a word. Fu 11, sister, the contradiction between this demon clan and the witch clan is getting deeper and deeper, the 12 ancestors and witches are powerful, and our demon clan may not be able to stop it. You have been getting Hongmeng purple qi for so many years, have you found a way to become holy? Fu 11 asked Nuo, if you become holy, my demon clan has a saint in charge, and I am not afraid of the Wu clan. When Nuo heard this, she was worried. She did refine Hongmeng purple qi, but this opportunity for enlightenment never appeared. Although Hong Jun passed down the Dharma of Taoism, and left them some Dharma before joining the Dao, he did not say anything about the others. Nuo shook her head, big brother, I don't have a clue. However, I sensed that my red hydrangea had a vague reaction. This other meritorious thing can fall on the head of the demon clan. Fu 11 asked, what's the matter? Nuo, my red hydrangea, in addition to its infinite power, can also control the 3 marriages of heaven, earth, and people. If I can complete the 3 marriages of heaven, earth, and man, I can also promote the hydrangea to the innate treasure. 3 marriages, with the deepest merits of heavenly marriage. Emperor Jun is the emperor of heaven, if I can match him and complete this marriage, my sister and I will definitely add merit. Perhaps, we will find an opportunity to preach. Fu 11 was overjoyed when he heard this. Then I'll quickly tell your majesty, sister, who are your candidates. Nuwa thought for a moment. His Majesty Emperor Jun is the golden crow conceived by the sun star, the body of the sun, and there is also a goddess incarnation on the Taiyan star. If I can help him be a matchmaker, it will be very good. Good, good. Fu 11 quickly put aside the matter of Lu Gui. Began to focus on the matter of Zhang Lushan's marriage for Emperor Jun. Emperor Jun of Heavenly Court, he was also very happy to get Fu 11's report. He was robbed of the first ray of merit of Heavenly Court by Lu Gui, and it would be best if he could make up for it through heavenly marriage. The goddess of the moon. Dai Jun is full of anticipation. At this time, Lu Gui flew all the way and had entered the East China Sea boundary. He didn't know that on Penglai Island, the Prince of the East is entertaining Sanking. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 49. Sanking. Tais Hang, the beginning of the Yuan, the Taoist of Tongtian. Looking at Penglai Island, which has become fairy-like, I feel the meticulous care of the East Prince. Nodding frequently. This Prince of the East is blessed with a lot of fortune, and he can actually get this kind of fairy mountain spirit island. Sanking and the Eastern Princes and Western Queen Mothers practiced in Kunlun at the same time, and they can be regarded as having a deep friendship. The Prince of the East served Sanking, which can be described as doing his best. After all, Sanking is a disciple of Dao ancestor, a future saint. If the Eastern princes want to turn the immortal court into a heavenly court, they must ask Sanking for help. Prince Dong, your immortal court is good. Compared to those who are hairy and horned, you are the orthodoxy of the wilderness. The Yuan Shi Dao people were complacent and full of praise for the fairy court. He was very unhappy with the Emperor Jun demon clan's occupation of the desolate heavenly court, and those who were furiously horned were also worthy of controlling the heavenly court. Yuan Shi's words won the meaning of the Prince of the East, and he bowed his head and bowed his waist to express his gratitude. Thank you Yuan Shi Genren for looking up to it, but the head of the male immortals designated by my Eastern Prince, Gongkong, for the Dao ancestor, is not worthy of the name, and the Emperor Jun occupies the heavenly court. It's really against Dao ancestors' expectations. Moreover, a while ago in Honghuang, I was bullied by that monkey, ashamed. Monkey, what about the 6 ears? When the Yuan Shi Dao people heard the name of the 6-eared macaque, their faces sank. He had suffered several big losses at the hands of Lu'er. Zixiao Palace was once before, and not Zhoushan once. Yuan Shi Dao people are stingy and hold grudges, but they will not easily forget these. In the past, the 6-eared macaque was strong, and Yuan Shi's physical body was not as good as him, and his magic weapon was not as good as him, but he didn't dare to go too far. Now he is a disciple of a saint, and he is accompanied by an innate supreme treasure, and his cultivation is even more in the middle stage of a quasi-saint. In the desolate world, no one can be an opponent anymore, and when I heard the 6-eared macaque, I couldn't help but snort coldly. The Prince of the East saw that there was a play. He hurriedly complained, no, that 6-eared macaque is a non-human and alien as the Taoist ancestor said, but he obtains the Dao law by listening to the supernatural power and practices a skill. He relied on his supernatural powers to bring disaster to the famine. I waited a while ago, and I suffered a big loss under him, and the gourd in his hand is extremely powerful. It was also in Buzhu Mountain that I robbed the opportunity of the 3 senior brothers that it would be like this. It's okay not to mention Buzhu Mountain, but when you mention it, Yuan Shi's anger is high. Back then, there were 7 gourds of congenital gourd vines, and everyone didn't know what the power was. However, Anyone can see that the seventh gourd is very powerful, and it is an innate treasure. This monkey, if he hadn't stopped himself and others back then, maybe that treasure would have been his own. The Yuan Shi Dao people deliberately ignored Lu Gui and didn't know how much Sangguang divine water he fed before the chaos gourd was born, but the more he thought about it, the more angry he became. He is a high-minded and arrogant person, and his intuition is Pangu authentic. This monkey bullied him, and he always wanted to find a chance to get back on the field. Daozu said that the law is not passed on to the 6 heirs, and I don't know who passed the Dao law to this thief. After he was in Wuzhuangguan, maybe he even grabbed Hongmeng purple chi. I think senior brothers, as the authentic sect of the Suanmen, have to ask. Euro. The Prince of the East once again fanned the flames, provoking the people of Tongtian and Laozi coldly. It's not that they can't see the thoughts of the Eastern princes, including Yuan Shi, who is not so easy to be fooled. However, everyone's position is different, and Yuan Shi is happy to find an excuse. At this time, Tongtian said, "Senior brother, that monkey has instructed us after all, we can't." "Senior brother, you're wrong to say that," Yuan Shi Daoran smiled sarcastically, "that creation of Qinglian is the fate that my Sanking should have, isn't it his 6 ears to help us? I think the Prince of the East is right, the law is not passed on to the 6-eared, if these 6-eared macaques steal my Suanmen Dao Fa. There is also Hongmeng purple chi, if my master's purple chi is taken away by him, he will be sanctified according to this, isn't this my Suanmen joke?" As soon as the two sang and harmonized, Lu Gui's crime was decided. When the people of Tongtian heard it, it was difficult to say anything. Although he has a good sense of Lu Gui, he will not turn his face against Yuan Shi for Lu Gui. At this time, everyone was talking and laughing. Suddenly, an immortal from the fairy court came to report, and on the sea, Lu Gui was found. "He's coming to Penglai Immortal Island again. What do you want to do?" The Prince of the East knew that Lu Gui appeared in the East China Sea, and he was so angry that he gritted his teeth. At this time, the Yuan Shi Dao people were also unhappy. "No, this monkey has no reason to come to the East China Sea, isn't it that he has also discovered other overseas fairy islands?" The Prince of the East suddenly exclaimed. Sanking came to be interested. Dongwang Gong said, "Daoist friends don't know, I have a chance to get a little chance of the ancient dragon clan. There is a record of the news of the 3 fairy islands on it, Penglai, Yingzhou, and Abat Sandao. This Penglai Immortal Island, it is also this monkey who discovered it first, occupied it first, and there are countless benefits on the road, all of which have been eaten and wiped clean by this monkey. It is said that the 3 immortal islands are all fused with the fragments of the desolation, and before they are opened, they are in a state of chaos that has not been opened, and the benefits are endless." When he said this, he gritted his teeth, and the people of Sanking Dao were also shocked when they heard this. This Eastern Prince's description of the 3 immortal islands overseas, Sanking is also fascinated. This kind of blessed land cave sky, get it, is a great opportunity. Sanking is now, although he is already a disciple of Dao ancestor, he has also gained a lot of benefits in Fenbao Rock. But who doesn't like having more resources? Okay, then Lu Gui is in Fenbayan, teaming up with the Wu clan, robbing me of the opportunity. I will have a report today. Yuan Shi suddenly made a move and landed a ban on Penglai Island, isolating the heavens. Yuan Shi Taoist looked at Laozi, through the sky. Laozi nodded silently. Seeing that the 2 senior brothers were like this, the Tongtian Dao people could only follow. If he didn't come for Penglai Immortal Island, then I'll follow. Above the East China Sea, it is the territory of my Penglai Immortal Court, and we can't let others rob us of our opportunity. The Prince of the East was murderous, and he was secretly proud in his heart at the same time. Now that he has pulled up Sanking, he wants to make Lu Gui look good this time. At this time, above the East China Sea, Lu Gui traveled all the way. He held the flood-desolate road guide in his hand, looking for the place that was most likely to open the overseas Three Immortals Island. There is a shortcoming in the wilderness, although it will lead to the search for opportunities, but this opportunity is random. Lu Gui found the vicinity of Penglai Island in order to maximize his chance. He looked into the distance and found that Penglai Island was full of fairy energy, and smiled. Lu Gui turned in one direction and bypassed Penglai. He's really not coming to Penglai, let's follow. The Prince of the East and Sand King found the traces of Lu Gui and were in good spirits. The four of them flew out one after another. Kill towards Lu Gui. Lu Gui's Hung was about to pinch the Honghuang road guide, when he suddenly sensed someone coming from behind. He sneered, turned around, and found Sand King and Dongwang who were about to follow. The three of them didn't expect that Lu Gui's ears and eyes were so clever, and his expression was embarrassed. Lao Tzu stepped into the air. Six-eared Taoist, polite. Lu Gui sneered. Lao Tzu, are you sure I'm a Taoist friend? With one sentence, he blocked Lao Tzu so much that he couldn't speak for a long time. As a desolate anomaly, Lu Gui was disliked by the Suanmen, so he naturally couldn't afford the word Daiyu. When the Prince of the East saw that Lao Tzu was deflated, he drank, and asked. Luer, you sneakily came to my East China Sea immortal court, what do you want to do? Lu Gui sarcasm. Your Penglai is all rubbing against me, do you want face? Haven't seen the licking dog at the door, so arrogant. His words made the Prince of the East angry. Honghuang, fellow Taoist, please stop breaking the news. Author, Detective with 6 ears. Chapter 50. The Prince of the East was returned by Lu Gui with a word, and he was almost so angry that a Buddha was born, and the Buddha ascended to heaven. The origin of Penglai Xiandao is the biggest heart disease of the Eastern Prince. Especially, through Penglai Island, you can't think of that sentence. No one can get angry. Penglai Island, strictly speaking, was given to the Queen Mother of the West by Lu Gui. The Eastern princes are interested in the Western Queen Mother, but the Western Queen Mother only treats him as a colleague. Now Penglai Immortal Court, on the surface, it is indeed the Prince of the East who is in charge. But strictly speaking, he was just like Lu Gui described, that is, he came to the door to rub an immortal court. You deceive people too much. The Prince of the East was so angry that he pointed to Lu Gui and trembled. Lu Gui was too lazy to take care of this waste, but turned to Sand King Laozi. What do you want to do, three of you? Lao Tzu didn't speak, but Yuan Shi jumped out first. Luer, just looking for you to send it to the door yourself, you steal my Suanmen Taoism, and snatch Hongmeng purple chi, you monkey sneaky, what do you want to steal? Yuan Shi Dao people, at the beginning, gave Lu Gui a big hat. Lu Gui didn't laugh angrily, this guy wants to fight again? Others are afraid of Yuan Shi, but he is not afraid. The cultivation of this product is now at most in the middle stage of the quasi-saint, and Pangu banner has not been obtained for long, and its combat power is limited. On the contrary, it is himself, the quasi-saint late stage, chaotic heals, and an innate treasure. If Yuan Shi wants to deal with himself, he is humiliating himself. Lu Gui grinned, Yuan Shi, you pretentious fool. If you want to frame me, find a serious reason. If you say that I can steal the Suanmen Dao method, do you mean that Hung Jun's old cricket is incompetent? He buckled a certain hat to Yuan Shi, and Yuan Shi was so choked that he couldn't speak. Lu Gui continued, the East China Sea is not your home, Penglai Island is still a gift from me. Queen Mother of the West, you people have what dirty means, just use them. Don't be like a hypocrite. Lu Gui breathed a sigh of relief, and said that the Prince of Sand King East was red-faced. The Yuan Shi Dao people were furious and sacrificed Pangu flags. The Prince of the East shouted, Lu Gui, what is the purpose of your trip? Don't rob me of the opportunity of Sangxian Island again. As soon as Lu Gui heard it, he understood. It turned out that these 4 people were going to follow behind them and go to find the other 2 islands of Sangxian Island. He laughed, "I'm just going to find Sangxian Island, what can you do?" When the Prince of the East thought that this was indeed the case, he sneered, "Senior brothers, this 6-eared macaque steals the way, seizes the purple chi, and has grudged the Suanman many times. I suggest that he be tied back to Penglai, and we will slowly find." What he meant was to find the treasure map of Sangxian Island. This kind of overseas immortal island, it is impossible to have no coordinates. In the 3 Qings, the beginning of the Yuan will understand, and Lao Tzu will be thoughtful. Although Tong Tien was unhappy, he didn't say anything. When Yuan Shi heard this, he couldn't wait to shoot directly. "Luer, I will report it today, and you insulted my hatred in Buzhu Mountain that day." When Lu Gui heard this, he didn't talk nonsense, he directly took out the god-killing gun and stabbed it over. The 6-eared macaque instantly turned into a chaotic demon ape, and its battle intent was monstrous. The power of fighting to defeat the duel is vividly demonstrated in him. The Pangu banner of the Yuan Shi Dao people, waving the color of the heaven and the earth, this treasure of opening the sky, instantly fixed Lu Gui. In terms of the power of the magic weapon, the Pangu banner is definitely stronger than the god-killing spear. But Lu Gui was squeezed, but he was not afraid. He was the demon god of war, and the more he fought, the more brave he became. When the oppression stimulated Lu Gui's fighting spirit. The god-killing spear is a killing treasure, although the grade is not as good as the innate treasure, but some extreme functions are even better than the treasure. It is the ultimate killing, which can hurt the saint and the original god. Killing and war, the 2 laws come together perfectly. Lu Gui stabbed out with a single shot, and the killing intent was monstrous. Yuan Shi Daoren, waving the Pangu flag, was originally confident that he could suppress Lu Gui, but this monkey's combat power was so strong that he actually broke free from the suppression of the innate treasure and stabbed him directly. His scalp instantly tingled, and he sacrificed a defensive spirit treasure. But Lu Gui did not give up, and the shadow of the gun was like a swimming dragon, with tens of thousands of shots. Yuan Shi Dao people, only then did he know that he was careless, and the strength of this monkey improved faster than him. "Impossible, I'm Pangu Zhengzong, the 2nd disciple of Suanman, why is he, a wild monkey, stronger than me?" Yuan Shidao and Lu Gui, the more they fought, the more frightened they became. Especially when I found that the longer this monkey fought, the stronger his strength became. The law of war is strong in the monstrous will to fight. Even in the face of Pangu, there is no doubt that he will die, and the demon god of war will definitely kill him. The Yuan Shi Dao people were deterred by Lu Gui's battle intent, and their strength gradually weakened. Among the 3 Qings, the other 2 saw Yuan Shi's embarrassment. A euro. Lao Tzu was expressionless and made a brazen move. He was too ambitious and shrouded towards Lu Gui. Well done. Lu Gui had long been on guard against Lao Tzu, and behind him, Honghuang's sword who shot out 100,000 sword chi. Every sword light was very cold. Innate treasure. Lao Tzu, Tong Tien, his expression has changed greatly. Although they knew that Lu Gui had an innate treasure, they didn't expect it to be so powerful. The Taiji diagram is the ultimate defense, but in the face of the sword chi of the Honghuang sword Hu, there is no advantage. Lu Gui's 100,000 sword chi pierced the Taiji diagram into 1,000 holes. Seeing this situation, Tong Tien was slightly stunned, and then said, "If you don't know the grace of Zhou Mountain's guidance, you won't dare to forget it." But I'm offended. Tong Tien Dao people, sacrificed their Qingping sword, and the sword chi stabbed at Lu Gui. At this time, the Prince of the East also sacrificed the dragon head staff, this superb innate spirit treasure, eyeing the tiger. 4-1, what a great majesty. Lu Gui smiled coldly and exhaled a breath from his mouth. 1 gasification and 3 clearances. The Chaos Demon Ape, the Pangu divine ape, and the Ruyi demon ape appeared in front of the three of them. The three chaos demon gods erupted with an earth-shattering aura and swept up a storm in the sky. Sanking was forced to retreat by Lu Gui and was horrified. What kind of supernatural power is this, so strong? Sanking felt that Lu Gui had vaporized the three major chaos demon gods of Sanking, and he was shocked. Lu Gui's supernatural power is by no means an ordinary beheading of three corpses. It's stronger than beheading three corpses. Cutting off three corpses is just cutting out the three clones of good and evil, and the power is also there, but it is difficult to achieve the power of the body. And the supernatural power in front of Lu Gui is the three major demon gods, and their strength is exactly the same. Chaos demon ape, armed with a god-killer spear. Pangu divine ape, holding a Honghuang sword. Ruyi demon ape, holding a golden hoop stick. When Sanking didn't come back to his senses, he had already taken the initiative to kill. The Honghuang sword chi of the Pangu divine ape shrouded the Taiji diagram. The Chaos demon ape, the god-killing spear turned into 1,000 spear shadows, and directly took the Yuan Shi Dao people. The two were entangled by Lu Gui and were angry. And the people of Tongtian Dao met the Ruyi demon ape, but they were shocked to realize that something was wrong. Why is this strength so weak? When the people of Tongtian Dao felt that something was wrong, the Ruyi demon ape suddenly turned into a monkey hare. Oh no, the art of change. He is a drunkard, not in wine. Tongtian suddenly saw that the Ruyi demon ape appeared behind Yuan Shi, holding a Ruyi stick, rolling up a storm. Senior brother, be careful. The Tongtian sage couldn't care about it, and directly sacrificed the 4 swords of Zuxian to strangle the Ruyi demon ape. The wishful demon ape exploded again. Monkey hair again. Tongtian found that he had been tricked again. At this time, the Prince of the East, who had been preparing to integrate into the battle, suddenly heard someone talking behind him. You bad old man, very bad. He turned around, just in time to catch Lu Gui's Ruyi golden hoop stick with a fighting spirit. Under the Eastern Prince in a hurry, he sacrificed the dragon's head staff. Cut the sky. The wishful golden hoop stick fell with monstrous supernatural powers. Dragon's head cane, broken. The Prince of the East was beaten by Lu Gui with a stick and the lower half of his body exploded, and the blood mist flew. Haha, take care. Lu Gui's success in one blow, regardless of the angry Sanking, directly pinched the flood road. Disappear in place.